Okay, this video is going to show us how to use the Torchmate software to edit our street number sign. The artwork we created and exported from the VCarve software can be brought right into our Torchmate software. So just to show you how to get started here, this is the icon for our Torchmate software. First thing we're going to do is set up our material size, and I decided to make our street number a little bit smaller on the aluminum, and we're going to show you how to scale it. So we're going to make the width maybe 6, the height 4, hit OK, and you're going to see that our artwork obviously is going to be oversized and need to be scaled. So this is our material. This represents the x-axis and the y-axis, just like in the VCarve software. Go to File, Import, and I'm in my folder, in my student folder drive, and last video we exported our numbers as a DXF. I'm going to double click on those. These settings, these defaults will work just fine for us. I'm going to hit OK, and you'll see that my artwork is a little bit large for the material, so we're going to have to scale it down. One thing's different in the Torchmate software. Every other software that we use, if you hold the shift key down and grab a corner, you're okay. Here, if you hold the shift key down, they let you make a mess out of it. So the Control Z does work, though. The undo is the same. However, in the Torchmate software, you're going to want to hold the Alt button down. So if you hold the Alt button down, we can scale without changing our proportions. So we want to keep the proportions that we have and scale it up so that it fits inside here. If you don't like your proportions, obviously you can, if you want to change it, you can do that. So right now what I want to do is fix these vectors if there's any issues with them, these individual lines. So I'm going to make a box around the whole thing and come up here to excuse me, Arrange, and I'm going to go to Connect Path. Now Connect Path, for some reason, sometimes DXF files, when they come in, they have little breaks in them, and this will take care of that. We can change our allowable error, make it as large as 1/10 of an inch, and hit OK, and it's going to fix any breaks there. The other thing we're going to do is go ahead and after we've connected the path, we're now going to make path, and it's going to make this one item. So now when I click on it, the numbers and the oval are all together. Just like in the VCarve software, we have our artwork and we need to assign it a toolpath. The way that we do that in the Torchmate software is, again, select it. We're going to go to Machine, and we're going to go to Create Toolpath. We'll talk about the difference between these later, but for what we're doing right now, we're going to hit the Male Toolpath, and this dialog box is going to come up. Now, the material that we're cutting is going to be much thinner than all of these. That really doesn't matter. You can click 1/2 inch. It doesn't matter because we don't have any settings built in here. When we get over to the machine, we'll do our final adjustments. We do want to touch on these two tabs, though. So Basic Cut, we can set our feed rate. If we know our feed rate, we can put it in. If we don't know our feed rate, the safe bet is to just put 100 in here. And I'll show you when we get over to the machine why that's what we want to do. So we can set it as 100 for now. We're going to hit Lead In, Lead Out. We do want to lead in. We can leave it, let's go ahead with, I'm going to go with a line lead in. And we'll make the length of it 0.2, and for now we'll put an angle of 45. And hit OK. And if yours doesn't look like this, it's possible that your view settings are not like mine. Right now I have Show Toolpaths. It also is going to show the fill material. If I want, I show fill. It fills it all in. I don't need that. So sometimes I just go show toolpaths only, and it's just going to show the black bold line represents the path that the torches actually take. You can see that my lead-ins, which are these lines right here, are going to need some adjustment. They're probably too large as well. So I want to make some changes to that. I've also noticed that looks like my numbers are a little tight. So I'm going to deselect that, select my toolpath and delete it. Go back to my numbers, and I want to make my numbers a little bit bigger. So how am I going to do that? Well, if I click on this, it's one thing right now. If I go back to Arrange and go to Break Path, I should be able to select just my numbers, and I have. Now I can hold the Alt button again and make these a little bit bigger. Make sure I get them centered. Don't know how to center them in this program with a feature, but I do know that we have the same option up here that we did before. And if this is 6 inches wide, if I select the center of this and put this on 3, that's going to make me centered. And if it's 4 inches tall, if I put my Y on 2, that's going to center it that way. So that's a safe bet. So I've made my letters a little bit bigger. I'm going to go back again and connect path. Go back, make path. Go back and go to machine and go to create. Whoops, I need to select it. Create mail toolpath. Now, just for the fun of it, I'm going to take a look at what an arc lead-in does. This it's going to create a little curved lead-in. Matter of fact, I think I'm going to leave those in there. However, we are going to make some adjustments because they're too long, and we're going to get into trouble with the starting point. So before we can edit those lead-ins, I want you to go up to View and make sure we're on Show Toolpaths Only. Once we have just the toolpaths visible, if we select our pointer tool and double-click on this, you're going to see we're going to get all these blue dots, and they're called nodes. And we can edit them and move them. Now, this guy is fine where it is. I'm going to leave that alone. You would not want to have it pass on the inside here, because that's going to cut into the part we want, and you wouldn't want it to make a loop inside there. So make sure it's on the outside of your work. Now these guys are a little trickier. This one's actually not bad. I'm going to move it over here a bit. This one's not in a great spot, so I got to figure out which one is. Here's the end that I want to move, and you know what? If you use the middle, yeah, I'm just going to change that arc and just have it kind of come in something like that, so it's not damaging my. It's nice how it comes in tangent to that, but maybe I can do that over here if I make it long enough. See how I've got that overlap? I don't want that. I'm gonna go ahead and do that. So as you edit these lead-ins, when we get over to the machine, you're going to see the importance of getting them right. Notice that there's a little tiny arrow there that's pointing the direction that the torch is going to travel. So I don't want to grab that blue dot. I want to grab this blue dot and move it over a little bit and see if I can create. I think I might do this again. We've got one more down here on this too, and that looks pretty good. So once we have this set, we're going to go to File, go to Save. I'm going to put it in my folder here, and It's going to save it as a Torchmate file this time. In this software, we can't output the toolpath until we get to the machine, and I'll show you what that looks like.